If you leave your money sitting in a standard UK bank account today, the math suggests you are losing purchasing power every single month. This is fiscal drag. While inflation and wages rise, the personal allowance remains frozen at £12,570. This red gap is a silent tax. For investors, as asset values inflate, the government is simultaneously shrinking your capital gains and dividend exemptions. These pressures are building toward April 2027, when a new set of rules will change how wealth is protected in the UK. These policies target a specific outcome: to discourage cash hoarding, close long-standing inheritance gaps, and push liquidity back into markets. This forces a difficult choice. You must decide between the immediate liquidity of an ISA and the upfront tax relief of a SIPP, under conditions that are becoming much less forgiving. The math indicates that a passive approach to saving is no longer sufficient to keep pace with these tax changes. To protect your retirement, you'll need a strategy that accounts for how these wrappers actually function. Starting in 2027, your £20,000 annual ISA allowance will be split by law. You will only be able to hold £12,000 in cash. If you don't invest that remaining £8,000 in the market, you will lose that portion of your tax-free allowance for the year. Furthermore, if you leave that money uninvested inside the stocks and shares account, it will be hit with a 22% tax penalty on the interest. There is a way to maintain liquidity without triggering that penalty. By moving the money into money market funds, the capital stays accessible, but it is technically classified as an investment. For emergency access, you need to ensure your provider offers a flexible ISA. This allows you to withdraw cash and return it within the same tax year without it counting toward your new £20,000 limit. However, HMRC follows a specific order of operations. Any money you put back in replaces your past year funds first. You can only contribute to your current year's allowance once those previous gaps are filled. If you miss the April 5th deadline to replace that money, that tax-free capacity is lost forever. ISAs still provide the best access to your cash, but the new rules are designed to punish administrative errors and uninvested capital. If you can afford to lose access to your cash, the SIPP offers immediate growth. Tax relief turns an £80 contribution into £100 before you even pick an investment. The trade-off is that this money is locked away until you are at least 57 years old. If you attempt to access these funds early, you risk triggering the Money Purchase Annual Allowance. This restriction permanently caps your future tax-relieved contributions at just £10,000 a year, which can severely limit your ability to save in later life. Because of that rigidity, many investors use a bet-in-ISA strategy to move money from taxable accounts into their ISA wrappers to avoid dividend taxes. But with the capital gains exemption now down to £3,000, these transfers require much more precise accounting to avoid an accidental tax bill. Historically, SIPPs were the preferred choice for passing wealth to the next generation, as they could often be inherited entirely tax-free. This table shows the 2027 shift. Unspent pensions will be integrated into your taxable estate and subjected to a 40% inheritance tax. The most efficient strategy now is to withdraw from the SIPP first to fund your own retirement, while keeping the ISA intact to pass tax-free wealth to your heirs. SIPPs remain the most powerful tool for accumulating wealth, but without active management, they can become a significant liability for your beneficiaries. Before choosing between these accounts, you must address high-interest debt using the Avalanche method. Paying off your highest interest balances first is mathematically superior to making minimum payments across the board, which can drain your savings potential for years. This framework maps out where your next pound should go, based on your current income and time horizon. For those in the top left, the young high earners, the priority is maximizing the SIPP for tax relief, while using a stocks and shares ISA to provide a bridge of liquidity before age 57. If you are in the bottom right and nearing retirement, your focus should shift towards the ISA to minimize the impact of the 40% inheritance tax on your pension. When you start taking income, the traditional 4% withdrawal may be too static for today's market volatility. Vanguard's dynamic spending model suggests a more flexible approach, reducing your withdrawals by 2.5% during market downturns and increasing them by up to 5% during growth years. This adjustment allows for a higher starting withdrawal rate of 5%, while still offering a 90% success rate over the long term. This requires the discipline to stick to a strict budget and the willingness to reduce your spending when the market dictates. As the government closes tax loopholes, your financial security depends on managing your ISAs and SIPPs as a single coordinated system rather than separate accounts.